You're a caring person. You show up, you give, you do just about anything for the people you love or care about or just are in the world with. So when someone suggests you might be codependent, it stings because from where you're standing, you're just being a good person. But what if both things are true? Today, I'm going to show you the difference between true compassion and fear-based helping, the sneakiest places that codependency usually hides, 4 questions to tell which one you're doing in real time, and 5 things to do the moment you catch yourself crossing that line. So stay tuned. Here we are again, Relationships Made Easy podcast. Oh, I got a good one for you today. I know I always say that, but it's really, really good. What seems to happen with my clients is that I'll be working with someone and then the same issue will come up over and over. It's very interesting to me, or in my Substack community or somewhere else. Anyway, it just seems like the same thing keeps happening. And codependency and the difference between like rescuing and codependent behavior and being a kind, compassionate person has been coming up a lot. So I thought, let me get real. Let's get to it. So I would say that most people who struggle with codependency usually don't think of themselves as codependent. They think of themselves as caring, generous, devoted. And the truth is, they're right. But there's a part that I think a lot of people don't talk about, and that is that you can be genuinely warm and giving and still be codependent. Not one or the other, both. Because, I've been doing this for 40 years now, and I work with real people over and over. And I know for myself, the real problem isn't that codependent people don't care. It's that they don't know where their compassion ends and their fear begins. So why is it so hard to tell if you're codependent or just being compassionate? I think the reason it's so hard to see comes down really to identity. And this is what I talk about more than anything with my clients. Most people who struggle with codependency are deeply identified with being a caring person. It's not just something they do, it's who they are. I'm the kind of person who shows up. I'm the kind of person who doesn't abandon people. I'm the kind of person who puts family first, whatever, right? Are you seeing where I'm going here? When being caring is central to how you see yourself, it becomes really almost impossible to question your caring behaviors, because questioning the behavior feels like you're questioning who you are in your soul of souls, your heart of hearts. And again, this is something that really comes so close to my heart because how I think it's pretty obvious how caring I am and compassionate and kind and all the good things. And I do deeply identify with that in my personal life and how I conduct my business and how I do all the things I do. I want to always overgive, I want to get, But there is a place where in the past I have overgiven or not understood the reciprocity of relationships. And I think that's something that this comes down to a lot. The reciprocity, when someone is just receiving, and you're just giving, it creates entitlement in other people. It creates things that you don't want to see in other people. I'm telling you right now, and it does not help them the way you think you are. And a lot of it is because put myself in that category, are uncomfortable with other people's discomfort. And that's a lot of our actions. So I'm really going to divide that today. Okay. So I think what happens is instead of asking, is what I'm doing actually helping, you find yourself defending it. That's what I'm just being a good friend. I'm just being supportive. I'm just doing what any decent person would do. And that defense, while completely understandable, okay, but it keeps you stuck. It keeps you stuck. And I know, because I was the one saying all those things. So here's the reframe for you. Being codependent doesn't mean you're not a good person. It means some of your helping behaviors are being driven by fear rather than love. And fear-based helping, no matter how well-intentioned, does not really help, at least in the long term. Okay. And when I talk about love-based, fear-based, because you can be codependent at work, and I'm not saying you love everybody at work. Remember, I'm talking about love-based emotions. Again, patience, understanding, kindness, compassion, all that, thoughtfulness, openness, all that. Fear-based emotions, avoidant, worried, anxious, depressed, mean, hateful, all that kind of impatient, irresponsible, all that, right? So those are different based emotions. So I want to be clear when I say love and fear, but if you've been with me a while, you know what I'm talking about. For anyone new listening, though, you might not. So, and I talked about this way back. I had to go look. It was episode 141. I think that was season 2 or 3. I mean, a lot years ago. I walked you through the difference between rescuing and supporting. And I'll link to that episode, of course. But the core idea is this. Real support comes from love. Rescuing comes from fear. Fear of seeing someone you love or know in pain, fear of conflict, fear of being seen as selfish or unkind. And here's the thing about fear. It's very good at disguising itself as love. And that's where we get into trouble. So, what is true compassion versus codependency? Compassion is not the same as fixing. It's not the same as solving or making someone's pain go away, as quickly as possible. True compassions, what researchers call compassionate empathy, I'm always from the research, is the ability to feel what someone else is feeling, to really be with them in it, and only from that place, to then ask what they need. And I did an episode on empathy a while ago. Again, I'll link to it, but and I broke down 3 kinds of empathy, which I'm just going to go over briefly right now. Excuse me while I cough in your ear. Let me have a sip of water. Okay. So I'll, again, briefly here, but you can go back and I'll link to that episode. And for everyone who's new, whenever I talk about the research or the links or the great free download today or anything else, you can find the links below the videos if you're watching on YouTube or on my website, abbymetcalf.com. Go to this episode. So cognitive empathy, so 3 kinds. Cognitive empathy is understanding how someone feels. Emotional empathy is actually feeling it with them. And compassionate empathy is when that felt understanding moves you towards helping. That 3rd level is what most people think they're operating from when they jump in, but there's a critical step that gets missed or skipped that I see constantly. Actually feeling with the person before doing anything, or maybe instead of doing anything. Most of the time, what's really happening is sympathy, not empathy. Sympathy looks at someone else's pain from the outside and wants to make it stop, right? Often because, you're watching someone suffer, which is deeply uncomfortable. We don't like that. Or it could be because any kind of disagreement or conflict is deeply uncomfortable for you. That's where it comes from. Empathy is like climbing down into the pain or the upset with the person and just sitting there. At least sitting there first before doing anything. But I would even say that that's the whole goal. And that distinction is really everything, because codependency almost always lives in sympathy mode. It's doing and fixing and managing and smoothing over. Okay. So, not because the other person necessarily asked for it even. They might have, but it doesn't have to happen. But because their distress is activating something in you that you feel like you need to resolve. Okay? And the invisible line is really this. Are you responding to their need or your discomfort? I know. And which one is healthier to focus on, right? So again, like sympathy, if I always use this example, if I have a friend whose mother died, sympathy is, oh my gosh, this is so hard. What can I do? Let me know. Can I bring food to the house? Can I help you with your dad if he's still alive, right? What do you need? Do you need to come for work? Do you need to go travel? Can I take care of your dog, right? We get very into doing because that's sympathy, and it's short-lived, and it's kind of a one-time thing. My friend's mother's not going to die more than once. It should be more of a rare occurrence sympathy. Empathy can happen all the time and every day. But empathy, and you can have empathy and sympathy, right? But the empathy would be, oh my gosh, I can't imagine what's going on in your world with your mother dying. Let me know if you need anything. Do you need to talk? It's so painful to watch you being in so much pain. right? That's empathy. You're just being there with them. Maybe, and I always say it's putting yourself not in their physical shoes, in their emotional shoes. So it's not, maybe you've never had a parent die, so you can't really relate in that level, but you've maybe had deep loss before, and you can relate to the feeling of deep loss or someone you really care about not being there anymore. And that's what you do. It doesn't have to be the exact same situation. It needs to be the feeling that they're having. Okay. So where does codependency actually hide? I think most people picture codependency as doing, again, too much for someone physically, picking up their slack, managing their problems, stepping in when they didn't ask. And yeah, for sure, that's part of it. But the more common and I think far sneakier version is emotional codependency. And that's harder to catch because it looks almost identical to being a loving, supportive person. And I see emotional codependency all the time. It shows up when someone you care about, or it could be even a coworker, whatever. It doesn't have to be someone like you love, but someone you care about, or you care about the relationship in some way for a reason like, hey, I work with this person, it has to go well. So when someone you care about, whatever that means, is upset or in pain and you can't tolerate it. So you start doing things with your words to make the feeling go away. You offer suggestions they didn't ask for. You spend long stretches maybe of time going over and over their problem with them. Yeah, I see you. You reframe things, point out the silver lining, you reassure, you remind them it'll be okay. You tell them what you think they should do. And you keep going often without realizing it until they seem to feel better, And I think what I see the most is trying to talk someone out of their pain. We do it from the time kids are, oh, it's okay. Shh, don't cry. It's going to be all right. We try to talk people out of their pain a lot, and it's a learned behavior from the time we're very young. And I'm not saying it's not good when a child is little to give them reassurance or it's okay kind of stuff, except if it's something real for them, depending on the kind of pain it is, it's not okay in the moment, right? My knee does hurt. I fell. So instead of saying it is, you can say it's gonna be okay. Oh my gosh, that hurts so bad, doesn't it? Oh, I hate when I skin my knee. That sucks. I'm so sorry. Let's get some ice. Then you can get into whatever, or Band-Aid or whatever, right? But it's fine. It's wonderful actually to let someone know as opposed to dismissing it, right? So again, it feels like compassion, it looks like compassion, but underneath it, if you get really honest, is your own discomfort with their distress. It's okay. It's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. I've got this, or whatever. Their pain is activating something in you, and you're working to resolve your own anxiety by resolving theirs. That is what's happening. There is research on compulsive caregiving. And it shows, there's a lot of it. I'll link to a little in the blog post and under the video. But research on compulsive caregiving shows a lot that people who help from a place of anxiety rather than genuine altruism experience more distress, more resentment, worse relationship quality over time, even when the helping behavior looks identical from the outside, right? So even if what you're doing is the same as what you would do from compassion, but you're doing it from fear, from anxiety, right? How you feel on the other side and what happens in the relationship shifts, right? Remember, what do I talk about all the time? Our brains process information at a rate of 40 bits per second, while our conscious brains, while our subconscious processes information at a rate of 11 million bits per second, according to Timothy Wilson's amazing research. So that's how people know that even when you're doing the same thing, when it's from that anxiety, from the obligation, from the guilt, from the anger even, or resentment, people pick up on it, and it worsens your relationship quality over time. People see you rolling your eyes, even if it's internal, okay? They can see it. So this is where the difference between empathy and sympathy really comes in again, okay? Sympathy looks at pain from the outside and it wants to move it along, right? Let's move that pain along. Let's dismiss it. Let's, it's okay. Let's reassure. Let's move on. Empathy climbs in and sits with it. That's what empathy is. It's not being afraid. And I know people think things, I hear this from men mostly. They'll say something to me like, or women, but usually when they're talking about their kids, they'll go, oh, I don't want to make it worse, or they'll get really upset if I go there. No, people won't. I'm telling you, the only time they'll get upset if you go there is, again, if you are really, really anxious about it and just pretending with your words that you're not. If you are escalate. So I always say match emotion, not tone. So if my kid skins their knee and I'm like, oh my God, that's horrible. Oh, there's blood everywhere, right? Obviously, that's not helping the situation. That's going to make a child more upset. But if I'm right there with that steady, like I said, oh, you skinned your knee. That sucks. Oh my gosh, of course it hurts. Oh, I'm so sorry. That's the worst. You were having so much fun too. Ugh, now we got the knee to deal with. Well, let's figure it out. I always say, see the tiger, right? First, no matter what else you do. Yes, first, you see the tiger. So, and then you sit there with them for as long as they need. Do you need to come sit on my lap? Do you need a hug? What do you need? And trust me, adults usually eat a lot of the same stuff. And then we can get into the next thing, fixing the knee or getting a Band-Aid or doing whatever, right? But yeah, I got to sit with it first. And that's the really wonderful place to be. And true compassion, I will say this, true compassion, it often means letting someone feel what they feel without rushing them through it. It means, again, saying that sounds really hard. Then shut up. I say with love, shut up. Stop talking. Gosh, I can feel how hard that is for you. Then maybe, is there anything I can do for you? What do you need? Instead of launching into what you think would help, right? Tolerate their discomfort and your own. That's really the key. Long enough to find out what's actually needed or wanted in a situation. Okay. So what are the 4 questions that tell you which one you're doing, right? Are you being codependent or not? And way, way back, this is one of my first episodes. I think it was episode 9. How do you like that? I gave you 4 questions to ask yourself when you're not sure whether you're being supportive or codependent. And I'm bringing them back because I got to tell you, they're just as relevant now. I was sort of happy about that. Some things I recorded 8 years ago, and I'm like, I've actually, I've moved on with my thinking about that, or I've deepened my knowledge of that, or I have a different viewpoint with more reframing or something. But I got to tell you, I was like, oh, I already wrote this. What are those codependent questions? And I agree with them still. I think they're still what I repeat. I actually knew them already because I do the same to my clients quite a bit. I don't think I've changed these in 15 years because they're good ones. So here's the 4 things. My number 1, if you ask nothing else, if you're wondering if you're being codependent, is who's working harder? It should not be you. If you're putting more energy into someone's problem than they are, that's a signal. Real support matches the other person's effort. It doesn't exceed it ever. If you're not ever, but it doesn't exceed it with any consistency. If you're losing sleep over something they've already moved on from, you're working harder. If you're the one researching solutions while they're watching TV, you're working harder. That gap really matters. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen this where I've had parents staying up all night worried about what their kid was doing, and their kid isn't worried at all. Where I have, a spouse, again, upset about what another spouse is going to do about something, and the other is like figured it out or is waiting for them to fix it. I have been there myself with my own kids, like working on a science project for them for school, like helping them. And then I look up and they're not even in the room. Like, what happened? Or I'm leading it somehow. You shouldn't be working harder than the other person. And I'm not saying that never happens, that you work a little harder, but you'll see the other 3 now that go with this. You can kind of put them in tandem with each other, but I'm telling you, don't be thinking more about this than someone else is, because they're not going to solve it if you keep working harder, right? If you're always up to bat and then you're complaining that they don't get up to bat, it's like, well, you need to move out of the batter's box, right? And I would say don't even move into the batting circle. Go sit in the dugout. Go sit down. Baseball season started. Can you tell I'm so excited? We all know I love baseball. But you get where I'm going here, right? Okay. Number two. So who's working harder is number one. Poof, right there. Just do that. Two is what's my motive? Why are you doing this? Okay, that's the next question I want you to ask. Is it because they genuinely need it and asked for your help? I'm going to sneeze. I sneezed on the podcast. We're not editing it out. No, I sneezed. These are things people do. I'm back. Okay. Back to motive. So, right? I want you to really think of it. Is it because, why are you doing it? What's my motive? Did they genuinely need it? Did they ask for my help? Or is it to make myself feel better, to avoid guilt, to keep the peace, to feel needed? Sometimes you're going to check in and find that your motives are clean, that it's true. But other times you'll see that this is more about you than them. Doing things for others out of a fear-based, right? A fear-based emotion, anxiety, resentment, worry, obligation, guilt. That's not love. It's anxious self-protection. I say to you with love. It is anxious self-protection. You can dressy it up any way you want, but that's what it is. Number three is, what does my gut say? If you feel resentful, drained, vaguely taken advantage of while you're helping, you need to pay attention to that because your gut is telling you something, right? Resentment is almost always a sign that I would say always a sign, but I try not to say always, that you've given more than you actually wanted to give all the time. And then number four is, are you teaching them to fish or are you giving them a fish, right? Whatever you're doing for someone else should be moving them toward greater capability and autonomy, not greater dependence on you. If they'll need you to do the same thing every single time it comes up, you need to ask yourself whether you're actually helping or making yourself indispensable, because that feels good to you. You got to look at yourself, right? It's not good for either. It doesn't serve either of you, but lots of people like to feel indispensable. This includes any situation where you're the only one they can talk to about something or the only one whose advice they'll accept. I have so many people I've worked with in my practice, on the podcast, writing in, on the social media, in my Substack group. It's like, you're the only one who can save the world. And that, you got to get rid of that. It's really, I say with love, pretty arrogant. Again, from my heart, I say this. Like, even to have that in your head anywhere, I'm the only one who can fix this. It's not healthy. It's not real. Really? Like, there's other people who can fix it. The person just hasn't found them because they haven't needed to. They found you. So now they don't need to go look harder. They don't need to, but if they needed to, they would. If there's a you, there's somebody else. We don't have one soulmate. None of that's true. So there are many people who can fill many needs. All right. So they need to get better at figuring out on their own while also widening their circle of support. They need to get better at critical thinking for themselves. They need to get better at figuring out their own problems, and they need to get better at widening their circle of support. They already tried another therapist and I'm the only one who's helped them. No. I think I'm fabulous. I think I'm a great therapist. I do. I think I'm a great psychologist, but I know there's a lot of great psychologists. Or a therapist. You don't have to be a psychologist, right? There's a lot of really good ones out there. There's a lot of crappy ones too. But, I don't think I'm the only one. Sometimes people even email me, you're the only one who can help me. No, I'm not. And if you think that, I don't want to be in that situation. That's dangerous for me and it's dangerous for you. So I'm glad if I'm helping you. I'm glad if I'm your go-to person, but I tell you, go to therapy, go try this, go try that. There's many roads to Rome. So if you think you're the only one, that's a problem. And you're not helping this person because they're not figuring out a wider circle of support. And that's important, right? I don't ever expect my clients to stay with me forever. I'm not doing my job if that happens, if they're not creating the skills they need to move on, if they're not finding sometimes it's a referral out, right? Maybe someone has trauma that's too deep for the work I do. So I refer out all the time. I refer to treatment programs. I refer all kinds of places because you figure things out as you're doing things. But regardless of even that, I just, after a while, I just had it the other day with a beautiful client. I said, oh, let's go to every other week. And she was like, oh, yeah. I said, yeah, we're great. You're doing great. Let's try every other week now. And then I go to once a month, and then we stop, and they can just contact me when they need me. You should not be in therapy the rest of your life necessarily, unless that's something you just enjoy, just to talk to somebody every week. But to me, that's not really the goal. For me, some people it is. God bless you. Okay. So the other thing I want to talk about is codependency kind of on a spectrum. Okay. It's because it's a continuum, not a diagnosis. All right. So codependency is not a diagnosis. It's not in the DSM. There's Dependent personality disorder is a personality disorder, but we're not talking about that. So it's on a continuum, right? On one end, you've got your pure empathic compassion, right? You feel with someone, you ask what they need, you offer what you genuinely can from a place of love and choice. You're able to be present with their pain without fixing it. I mean, you are like the bomb diggity over there, right? And on the other end, you have compulsive caretaking. You jump in without being asked. You do more than your share. You feel responsible for other people's emotional states. And underneath all of that is, just this quiet or loud hum of anxiety, right? That doesn't go away, no matter how much you do. So that's the both ends of the spectrum. And I think most people are somewhere in the middle, and where you land, I also think shifts depending on who you're with, what's being triggered. You might be genuinely empathic with a friend, but compulsively caretaking with like a parent. You might be healthy in one relationship and completely enmeshed in another. I've seen it. I've seen it all. I've been there. It's not a fixed trait. For some people, they just do it everywhere, but I think most people don't. It's a pattern that shows up in specific dynamics. And, once you can see it, you can start to shift it. So that's what I want for you, right? That's what we're going for. So let's talk about the 5 things to do when you notice you're giving, how do I want to say it? When you notice you're giving from fear instead of love. Let's say it that way. Sip of water. Hold on. Right? So, what do you actually do when you catch yourself in the fear-based place? That's what So I'm going to give you some tips. But I also want to mention, it's a good time, that today's free download, I'm calling it the Compassion Check. Excuse me. It's a quick self-quiz that helps you see whether you're giving from love or fear. Right? I think I took it. I take whatever I do. It took me about 2.5 minutes. But I think it'll be eye-opening, especially if you've ever defended a helping behavior. You're like, no, I'm just being compassionate. And as always, I have a therapy to go bundle that goes deep with the tools and insight about this topic, but I'll talk about what's included in that at the very end. Okay. But there's the free download I already mentioned. All right. So for now, when you notice the urge rising, that discomfort kind of building, the voice in your head saying you have to do something or say something to make it better, here's your 5 tips, okay? So number 1 is you got to start with mindfulness. You knew you weren't getting through an episode without me mentioning mindfulness, okay? We all knew that. But it matters so much here. You can't catch yourself in a fear-based pattern if you're not paying attention to what's happening inside you in the moment. It's why I talk about mindfulness so much. It's what creates the gap between feeling the urge and acting on it, right? And I'll link, I have an episode, how to make mindfulness a habit. And I have a free mindfulness starter kit. If you haven't gotten it yet, I don't know what you're waiting on. Again, we'll link to all those things in all the places. Okay, so that's fun. 1, you got to be mindful, you got to notice it. 2, then I want you to name what's happening. Once you're present enough to name it, to notice it, you got to name it, right? I'm feeling anxious about so-and-so situation, and I'm finding this urge to fix it. That's it. I've talked about this before. There's a lot of research on this. It's called affect labeling, putting your feelings into words. And it shows that just that simple act, I know it seems like something you can skip. I'm telling you, say it out loud. Say it out loud. It's that simple act. It reduces the intensity of your emotional response and gives you a moment to choose, right? To act, not react. I'm telling you. So notice it and then really do name it out loud. Wow, I'm feeling anxious about blah, blah, blah. Or I'm feeling resentful, or I'm feeling frustrated, or whatever it is. I'm telling you, it makes a difference. Then you're going to ask yourself, number 3 is to ask yourself that motive question, right? Why are you doing this? Am I about to do or say this because they need it? Or because I need relief from my own discomfort? Because I'm feeling uncomfortable with this. I'm feeling anxious. Just asking honestly is often enough to shift what you do next. I know this works because I do it with my clients, and I do it myself. Then step 4 would be, or number 4 would be to offer, how do I want to say this? Offer presence before any kind of action or advice or anything else, or even just presence, right? So because you still might want to offer something, I get it, but lead with being there rather than doing something. Saying, I'm here. This looks really hard. What do you need? Is my favorite. There you go. Those 3 sentences. I'm here. This seems really hard. This looks really hard. What do you need? I think those 3 sentences are almost always more powerful than anything you could fix or anything else you could say. And they put the other person in charge of what kind of support they actually want or need. And they might say, well, I don't know. If they do that, you'll just sit with it. Don't start suggesting, well, what about this? What about that? Just sit. They're saying, I don't know, because it's a skill to figure out what you need. It's a skill. And if you have been jumping in always and telling them what they need and giving them all these suggestions, then of course they don't know. So just be quiet. Just sit. Well, let me know when you do. I'm here. That's it. And they might even try to draw you in. Well, what do you think I should do? Or I could do? Or what are you thinking? I'm just thinking I'm here with you. I just want to be here with you right now. This is a good time to even say, you know what? I feel like I've given you suggestions before and I'm realizing what a disservice that is. So I just want to sit here with you. Yeah, I'm happy to brainstorm with you, but I don't want to be the one coming up with ideas. It's your life. You know what you need better than, give them the energy, give them the words that you believe in their own self-efficacy, like their own agency. That's the most supportive thing you can do. Don't infantilize them. It's so infantile. It really is. It's so undermining. It's so not a vote of confidence when you come up with all the ideas, you're pretty much telling them, I don't think you can. It's not as loving as you think. I say with love. Number 5 is to get comfortable with doing nothing. I think this is the hardest one and also the most important. The most compassionate thing you can do is nothing. Yes, I said it. No advice, no reframing, no silver lining, no reassurance, no suggestions. Just be present. Feel with them. Allow yourself to feel the feeling. I know you're afraid too. That's why you're rushing to do something. Just be it. Letting them know they're not alone without trying to move them anywhere. That's empathy. That's real compassion. And it will never, ever be confused with codependency. I'll tell you that right now. I know. So what should you expect when you start making these changes? I'm throwing this in. When I was writing my notes for today's talk, I was like, I need to talk about this because let me say this first. None of this happens overnight. If you've been in a caretaking mode for most of your life, the urge to fix, the urge to soothe, to manage is going to feel very strong. And resisting it's going to feel wrong at first. I'm not going to lie about it. Maybe even cruel. You might even feel mean. It's normal. You're asking your nervous system to tolerate discomfort. It's been trained to immediately resolve. And this is a skill like any other skill. You have to practice it. If you feel guilt, it's very natural in the beginning. But again, don't act on it. Now, let me say this too. What else to expect? You're also likely to get quite a bit of pushback. The people in your life are used to you fixing things. So they might get upset or frustrated with you. I know. And so again, I would say what I said before, be honest with them. You know what? I've been listening to Abby's podcast, or I've been realizing that I've been codependent with you before, and I'm working on that. So I'm going to be here and I'm happy to brainstorm, but I'm not going to give you any advice or suggestions. And So what is brainstorming? If you're brainstorming would mean that you would only ask questions. Well, what have you tried that's worked? What have you tried that hasn't worked? What's one thing you think you can do to move forward? What's one step you think, do you see where I'm going here? Yeah, just, you know what? I'm going to include in the Therapy to Go bundle my list of collaborative questions. I'm writing that down so I remember. I'm going to include that. I have collaborative questions like this, to help you not, what do I always say? Don't sack, don't offer SAC, don't offer suggestions, give advice or criticize, ask questions. So I'm going to include that in the Therapy to Go bundle. I'll talk about it in a minute. But anyway, so what I want you to hold on to is this, that the people in your life, how do I want to say this? They don't need you to fix their pain. They need you to be present with it. And when you can do that, when you can sit with someone in their hard thing without rushing them through it or taking it on as your own, that's where real connection happens. Reciprocity, real connection. That's when people truly feel seen and supported. Okay? It really is. And I know in the beginning, it might not seem that way and they might be pushing back and they might even be upset about what you're doing. But to create a really healthy relationship, this is the path. And ultimately, I'm telling you, it'll improve your relationship because the research shows it. And the research shows that this overdoing for them is really tearing apart the relationship, as I mentioned earlier. Okay, so a little reminder to get the free download, the Compassion Check Self Quiz, if you want. And if you've been nodding your head this whole episode, thinking, oh my gosh, Abby, you're speaking directly to me, I'm just going to lovingly suggest that you get the Therapy to Go bundle that goes with today's episode. Okay, it's only $10, and it includes the free download, by the way. So you don't have to download the free download and get the Therapy to Go bundle. It'll be in it. But if you want to get the free download first and see if you like it and then see if you want to go deeper, sure. But here's what's in the Therapy to Go bundle. There's the Love or Fear worksheet, and that's the kind of working through a specific situation to find what's really driving you. So it'll really help. I have journaling prompts for codependency and compassion, right? And the prompts are really meant to explore the beliefs, the stories, the origins behind your helping patterns, okay? The third thing, there's a motive check worksheet. So when you can't tell if you're helping from love or fear. There's a nervous system first aid for caretakers, I'm calling it. It's just quick ways to settle your body when you're getting activated by someone else's pain. And then there's the support without rescuing script sheet. I like to give you scripts. So it's like what to say instead of fixing, advising, or jumping in. I'm going to also add the collaborative questions sheet because I think that'll be really helpful here. So all of that is $10. And, it's going to help you really, if this is an issue for you, it's going to help you get to what's really going on. That's all I got to say about it. So that's it for today. I hope this was really helpful and that you saw yourself and saw ways that you can pull yourself out of this, a new way of thinking. You know me, I always want to give you a new way of thinking about something, not to blame yourself, not to beat yourself up. We are not here for that, but to, give yourself some love, some compassion, some patience, some understanding so you can move forward. All right. Mwah. Oh, I love you so much. I do. Thank you for being here with me. It always means so much to me. There's so many podcasts out there now, and we are in like the top 1% of podcasts, which I'm so insanely proud of. And all these years together, it just means the world. And if you want more help at work, I started another podcast last October of 25 called Workplace Therapy with Dr. Abby Metcalf. These are much shorter, very quick hit, kind of 15-minute little episodes meant to help you with very specific work problems. So there you go. All right. Have an amazing week, and I'm going to talk to you real soon.